Music is all around us. It is the universal language. It evokes many feelings and is something to be shared and celebrated. You have found a place where all kinds of music will be celebrated. So welcome. You are tuned in to the Zen Sessions, presented by Hear2Zen Magazine.
All right, here we go. All right, today we're joined by Ben from Asking Alexandria. Their new EP is out Friday. He's here to have a chat with us about how you doing, Ben?
I'm fantastic, mate. How are you doing?
Great. So, new EP pretty soon after the release of the album. Was there a conscious decision to leave some songs left over, or are they all new songs?
No, two of the songs are actually on the record, and two of them are new. And I think the thought process behind it was we've done everything. Everything about this record is different than anything we've done before. You know, from all being in the studio at the exact same time together for the first time in like 10, 11 years, to ditching all of the computer magic and it being sort of raw, real drums, real guitars, everything's just the five of us, to even the way the album was released, you know, nowadays with streaming and CD sales being down, lots of people, they'll release a single, let it live for months, gain streams, do it again, and then release their record, so that they've had these singles that have streamed for months and months, and it makes it look like the first week was huge. We didn't do that this time. We were like, no, we're doing an album. Here's a song. Oh, here's the album. So we're just doing everything differently, just to keep things interesting for us. And I think this was another one. It came time to do single number 2, which is Never Gonna Learn. And instead of just going, well, here's single number 2, we were like, well, can we do something different? And we brainstormed with the label, and we were like, well, why don't we release an EP around single number 2? Just because, why not? You know, everyone's going through a rough patch right now, and we have songs. That's what we like to do. We like to share songs with people, and so it seemed like a fun idea. And hopefully it goes well, and fans enjoy it, and people like it, and then we could keep doing it. It's like, oh well, we're going to do single number 3. Here's another EP. You know, it's just a cool way to keep giving fans new music, and it keeps us as songwriters able to continue writing and sharing new songs.
Sure. Do you find that by doing that, there's more cohesiveness with the songs? Like, in my opinion, when bands do single, when the finished product gets released, it never sounds like an album. It sounds like almost like a compilation.
Yeah, it's disjointed. I absolutely feel that way. And it's funny too, because I was talking to Alan Kovac, the owner of Better Noise, when we were doing our album. And we were just sort of reminiscing about all of our favorite records, like whether it was Elton John or the Beatles or Metallica or Queen. And we were talking about when records were really important, and you would buy that record and you would go on the journey. You would go on the journey with the artist through the record. And that's something we really wanted to sort of create with this new album. It was which is why we did the album, released a song, and released the record instead of doing single. It was so important that the album told a story and took the listener on a journey. And, you know, that was something we discussed in depth with Alan. And it was nice to have that, because a lot of people don't have that mentality anymore, because I know it's arguable that it is a waste of time because people don't listen to full records anymore. But as an artist and as a band, it was so enjoyable to sort of create in that headspace again.
Now, you mentioned Better Noise and Alan. Now, if people don't know them, you know, Alan's pretty much responsible from bringing Motley Crue back from the death. Now, how important is a label like that to an artist as opposed to just a distribution platform?
I truly think it depends, because it's such, again, we're in such a different age when it comes to music. I'm a big advocate for some groups. They go, well, we're going to go independent. We don't need a label. All they're doing is taking whatever the percentages of our money, and no one even buys CDs anymore, so we don't need them to distribute our stuff. We can put it all on the internet ourselves. Absolutely. For a lot of bands that works, for a lot of artists that works, and more power to you. I think that's incredible. But at the same time, for some artists, I don't think it's the right move. For us in particular, it wasn't even really an option, because we still like to have the input. Someone like Alan, he's such a visionary too, you know, and he's so passionate about music, and rock music in particular. So for us, it's nice to team up with someone with that sort of passion and that insight, because we're still interested in growing and learning and developing. And so it's nice to sort of have someone on that side of the fence that can help us to grow and develop our band and our music. And it's nice to have someone on the outside too. It's very much like when you're in the studio. Again, as an artist, you could go in the studio these days all on your own and just write a whole record and go, okay, that's cool. But it's nice to have a producer and an engineer in there, because they're outsiders. They're not, you know, they're not in the box that you're in. So it's nice to get that perspective from people. And for us, it's the same with a record label. It's nice to have that perspective. It's nice to have ideas from a team bouncing around, and it's nice to have support, you know, for the release too. So for us, it was a no-brainer. We've loved every second of it so far.
Perfect. And about the record, you've got Maria from In This Moment on a track. How did that come about?
We were writing the song, and it's a big banger of a song. It's huge guitar riffs, huge drums, and Danny started laying his vocals down, and he did verse 1, and I was like, man, for some reason I just hear Maria singing on this song. Like, her voice was just in the song already somehow. I don't know why, but it just sounded like her voice would be perfect for it. And we've been pretty good friends with the In This Moment camp for quite a while. We've crossed paths so many times. We've played countless festivals together around the world, but we've never collaborated together on a musical standpoint. So we just reached out to Maria and we were like, is this something you'd be interested in? And she felt the same way. She was like, man, I can't believe we've known each other so long, but we've not worked together yet. So it was really easily put together. It was a lot of fun. She had complete creative freedom. We didn't write any of her parts for her. We were like, you do what you want to do. You know, it was, like I said, it was a real collaboration. It wasn't us just wanting her voice on it. So we're like, these are the lyrics, sing it this way. It was very much, she put her own spin on it. And I think the song came out, I think it's awesome. And she has a great voice, and her and Danny's voice together is just such a great match.
Yeah, they sort of intertwine quite nicely through the song, but still remain their own identity.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Now, the title, Never Gonna Learn. So it's a two-part question. What's the biggest thing you've learned in the last 2 years? And what's the biggest thing you think the human race still needs to learn?
I think the same answer goes for both of those. And I think it's boundaries, human boundaries. I think we've lost them. We've lost our humanness. You know, I think I've learned over these last few years being home. This is the first time in since I was a kid, since I started Asking Alexandria, that I've been awarded time to really just sit down and reflect and be a father and a husband. And watching my kids grow over the last few years, it's been incredible, and it's made me realize how short and precious our time is here. And so I've just stopped using social media for the most part, because I noticed it was taking me out of reality. I was missing moments with my kids. I was missing moments with my wife. And, you know, even now, if I pick up my phone to work and my son's in the room, he'll be like, Dad, get off the phone. I want to show you my new dance move. And I'm like, oh, sorry. You know, and that's reality, and that's where I should be. That's where our focus should be. And I think people have mixed up reality and this digital realm that people think of as reality now, and it's quite sad, and it's stressful. And there's a lot of people that are stressed and upset, and I think, you know, suicide rates have gone up, and there's all kinds of things. And I know that there's positives to it as well. But for me, I think a lot of people, myself included before, kind of have our heads down, and we're missing what's going on around us. And it's been so important for me to leave that behind and re-enter reality with my family. And I think we're starting to see more people hopefully, I think we're starting to see more people doing that these days as well.
Cool. Do you think that part of that is people needing instant gratification?
I do, yeah, and because it is nice to see, isn't it? And you do get sucked into it. It's like, well, how many likes has that one got, and how many comments has this one got? And it's almost addictive. And it is instant gratification, which I think people do crave for a number of reasons. But you know, it's taken over at this point, and it's got to the point where people are sharing everything with everyone, and it doesn't. You don't need to. Like, why do people around the world don't need to see what birthday cake my kid had on his birthday? You know, that's for me. That's for my family. Yeah. And I think it's just become so normal to share everything that people have forgotten about sort of privacy and boundaries.
Sure. Leading up to the interview, I actually went on the band's page, and I found it interesting. I was reading comments about how people feel Asking Alexandria should sound, and what your roots are and what your sound is. So, what is the band in 2022 to you?
We're a rock band, and it's a vessel for us to express ourselves, which it always has been since day one. You know, when I actually, if people want to talk about our roots as musicians, I'm a blues musician. You know, I grew up playing and listening to B.B. King and Eric Clapton, and I grew up listening to songwriters like the Beatles and Oasis, and that was the stuff I liked. Those are my roots. And then I grew into rock and metal, and I started listening to bands like Pantera and Metallica and Iron Maiden and Megadeth and stuff like that. And then it progressed into new metal, and then it progressed into metalcore. So if we're talking roots, you know, our musical backgrounds are so different for each members. But, you know, I think Asking Alexandria, like I said, has always been a vessel for us to express ourselves. And we use music as songwriters to sort of vent and tell stories of what we've been through in our lives, and hopefully we can help other people through moments in their lives. And I think Stand Up and Scream for a lot of people was a record that was there for them at the right time in their lives, and it was for us too. But we're not in that same place in our lives as we were when we wrote that album. We were teenagers. If we were still in that same mindset and that same headspace, I mean, we would have not have progressed at all as people and as adults and as musicians and as artists and as human beings. And I think it's funny because people use the term sellout, and I think a lot of the time they're incorrect with the way they're using it. To me, it would be selling out to keep creating the same sound over and over again simply because we know it sells. That's what a sellout is. Yeah. Oh, well, we know that album did incredibly well, so we're just going to keep regurgitating it to collect the paycheck and sell the tickets, which is something that Asking Alexandria's never done. We've progressed with every album. We've played music that we love, and we've been very fortunate that we've grown, and majority of our fans have grown with us. But it is impossible to please everyone, and that's just, it's part of being an artist. And you know, I would never sit there and say, "Oh, fuck the people that want to listen to our old stuff." It's like, I appreciate the fact that that's the sound that they love. And to them, I just say, I'm glad that Stand Up and Scream is there for you and you're still enjoying it. I still put it on from time to time. I go, man, this was a great album. And it was, and it still is. But we just don't write that anymore because it's not where we are in our lives currently.
And we're running out of time. So, and I know you've got some more press to go. So we'll finish up with, what do you want people to take out of the EP when it comes out on Friday? And is there anything in the pipeline to head down our way?
You know, I think the EP it's our fan base is so widespread. There's people that love the heavy Asking Alexandria, and there's people that love the ballads, and then majority of the people are in the middle and they enjoy the spectrum of it. And the fun thing about this EP is it's on both ends of the spectrum, just the ends. You know what I mean? There's no middle ground. There's two very high energy songs. Very different sounding, but very high energy nonetheless. There's New Devil, which is a heavy song for the people that want to get back in the pit and let loose a little bit and get rid of some aggression. There's Never Gonna Learn, which again is more, it's upbeat, it's high energy. And then all the way at the other end of the spectrum, there's Find Myself and sorry, my son's just at the window, and Miles Away. And they're both sort of sad, slow, passionate, meaningful ballads. And so, you know, I hope that people can enjoy that roller coaster of emotions, because it's two ends of the spectrum there. And it was a lot of fun to sort of come up with it and create that. Hi, Finn.
What are you doing?
I'm working. Can you sit on the chair?
Sure.
Thank you, kiddo. Sorry.
Mine's in the other room.
He's still dressed up as Santa.
Perfect. As you have to.
Different pants.
All right.
Different pants, I know.
I'll leave you with it for today. Hopefully we see you down here 2023.
I hope so. We can't wait.
Excellent, mate. Have a good day.
Thank you, mate. Cheers.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Zen Sessions presented by Hear2Zen Magazine. If you are listening to us on YouTube, please hit the subscribe button. If you are listening on one of the podcast platforms, please subscribe there. And don't forget to follow Hear2Zen Magazine on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.